You are listening to Christian Audio's production of The Lord and His Prayer by N.T. Wright. This book is read by Derek Perkins. This audio recording was produced in 2016 by Christian Audio, which owns the copyright. No portion of this recording may be reproduced for any reason without prior written consent from Christian Audio. This edition issued by contractual arrangement with SPCK. Originally published in English as The Lord and His Prayer, copyright 1996 by N.T. Wright. All rights reserved. Please visit christianaudio.com, facebook.com/christianaudio, or twitter.com/christianaudio to offer your impressions of this work and to explore additional titles. For Julian, Rosamond, Harriet, and Oliver. Prologue. 1. This book began life as a series of sermons preached in Lichfield Cathedral in Advent 1995. That explains some of its peculiar emphases, though I hope it will be found equally relevant wherever and whenever it is read. A few more words about its origin may help. I have been wanting for some time to share with a different audience some of the fruits from my last 10 years of academic study working on the historical life of Jesus. I didn't want just to write another series of lectures. If my conclusions are correct, it is actually more appropriate that such thoughts should come together within the worshipping and witnessing life of the Church. Jesus' message summons us to focus our thoughts on the coming of the kingdom of God. Because that is a huge and difficult idea, I here focus that thought, too, on one small point, namely, the prayer that Jesus taught, the so-called Lord's Prayer. We live, as Jesus lived, in a world all too full of injustice, hunger, malice, and evil. This prayer cries out for justice, bread, forgiveness, and deliverance. If anyone thinks those are irrelevant in today's world, let them read the newspaper and think again. The more I have studied Jesus in his historical setting, the more it has become clear to me that this prayer sums up fully and accurately, albeit in a very condensed fashion, the way in which he read and responded to the signs of the times, the way in which he understood his own vocation and mission and invited his followers to share it. This prayer, then, serves as a lens through which to see Jesus himself, and to discover something of what he was about. When Jesus gave his disciples this prayer, he was giving them part of his own breath, his own life, his own prayer. The prayer is actually a distillation of his own sense of vocation, his own understanding of his Father's purposes. If we are truly to enter into it and make it our own, it can only be if we first understand how he set about living the kingdom himself. A further reason for my taking of the Lord's Prayer as my theme in the sermons from which this book developed has to do with our stated aim in the Lichfield Cathedral strategic plan, developed by the chapter over the last 2 years. Our first priority for action, we have said, is to develop the prayer life of the cathedral. This dovetails completely with the Lichfield Diocesan strategic plan, entitled Growing the Kingdom, in which our Bishop, Keith Sutton, has placed worship and prayer as the first of our stated objectives. One central part of our task as a cathedral, of course, is precisely to be a powerhouse of prayer for the whole diocese. 1995 saw the celebration of the 800th anniversary of the present Gothic cathedral, built on the site of the previous Saxon and Norman ones, and we have been using our celebrations to launch various new ideas and programs. The series of sermons which turned into this book began shortly after our celebrations had reached their climax. As we took a deep breath after all the tumult and excitement of the festivities, I couldn't think of any better way to draw 1995 towards its close than to turn our thoughts to what we all agree is one of the most central things in our life, namely prayer. Where better to start that than with the prayer that Jesus himself taught us? If we value and marvel at the fact that Christian worship has been offered in our cathedral church for nearly 1,300 years,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?